All right. Look at that. I like it. Let's see if I can do something with it. All right. Okay. Can you hear me? No? Can't go yet? How about now? Am I live? I never know if I'm live or not. Can you hear me? Am I live? I'm good. All right. So we are live. This is hi. My name is Phil from PDQ Merchant Enterprises and the ATM Mastermind Group page, and we go live every other Monday at 6 Central. So that's 6 Central time. We do usually have a topic, and hope you guys find this interesting or helpful. We try to help out the community, and so all right. So today's topic is 5 things you need to know when you negotiate a deal, or how to help you negotiate a better ATM deal. So we have some people join, so that's good. Everything's good. So, um, uh, the, so one. Hold on, let me get this because I wrote it down and I really got it right. Oh, not this one. All right. So where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay. Yep. So, oh, here it is. Okay. So the topic tonight is 5 negotiation tips when placing an ATM. So that's what our topic is. So we're going to jump right into one thing. And so these are the things that I learned basically over the years when I'm talking to a location. So number one thing I do is what I want. Here's what I want is I want a 5-year agreement. I want to give them the least amount of money per location. But I also know, depending on who I'm dealing with, I know the parameters. But I don't want to show them all my cards at once, because I know that some people, some store owners, some ethnicities, they're going to go to the same deal all the time, and I know I don't want to get them to that deal. So a perfect example of this is I know that if I'm dealing with a certain ethnicity and they're in a liquor store, they're going to want 50% of the transactions, no matter what. I know that. And they don't want to sign an agreement, but I want an agreement. And I know that I'm willing to give them a percentage, but it depends on what the store is going to do. I know that the store is not going to do a great deal right off the bat. So what number one rule is I don't show them all my cards at once. I'm going to put an ATM in there. We're going to do great service. I don't want to give them 50%, and I don't want to go in without an agreement. So I know that we're going to have to go back and forth. The other thing I know is if you deal with a lot of let's call it Middle East personalities, they're used to negotiating, and so if you give them your best deal right off the bat, it's not going to work with them because they want to beat you up. So then you give them their best deal off the bat, and then they're going to beat you up for even more. So don't give them your best deal off the bat. Give them something that let them beat you up a little bit. They're going to go back and forth. You're going to go back and forth. Sometimes you yell. It's okay. That's that the certain ethnicities, they like to yell. So don't take it personal. It's just part of the game. It's a game, and it's fun. I like having fun. So just take it for what it's worth. They're going to give a little, you're going to give a little, and you're going to have and you're going to go into a nice deal. But just you got to keep in mind that you're not going to give them your best foot forward, and don't show them. Basically what it is don't show them all your cards at once. Hold some back. Let them beat you up a little. Then you're going to give in a little. So that's usually how some of the deals go. And what I learned is the number one thing that I'm learning is don't show them all your cards at once. Don't tell them all this you can do. You're thinking a lot of times I was thinking, hey, I'm a great company. We're going to show them, hey, we're willing to do all this amazing stuff. And at the end of the day, they just wanted to beat you up a little bit and think that they're getting the best deal. You're the best company for them. You're going to be helpful for them, but let them win a little. So you let them win a little by not giving them the best deal in the beginning. You already know where you're at. You know what your thresholds are, and let them beat you up a bit so they can feel like they're winning a little, and which you're okay to give because it was giveaways. All right. So I give you an example of this. So what is this? All right. So what we do, and here's a tip for you guys out there, is on a mobile event, what we do is we put in a drop-off fee. Okay. So I'm not going to necessarily charge everybody a drop-off fee, but we have that. So when somebody says, "Hey, we want a commission, we want you to do a mobile event, and we want a commission," so I know where my thresholds are. I got to make so many transactions for the event to make us profitable. So some people, they'll say, "Well, hey, we want you to drop. We want you to. We're interested in hiring your company for this mobile event. We want you to drop off a couple ATMs. We have." This time in this parameter, and we want a commission. So I said right off the bat, look, here's the situation: is we have a drop-off fee, and this is our drop-off fee. And so here's the situation: if your event goes above this, then we will waive the drop-off fee. If it doesn't, then we'll charge you a drop-off fee. Sometimes they go back and forth. They'll say, hey, we're a nonprofit, we're a charity, we're this, we're that. And I said, you know what? I'll tell you what. Here's what we can do. And we do this. I'll waive the drop-off fee this first year. Let's see where the event is. And then, but we're going to keep 100% of the commission. Now they say, okay, fine. We'll do that deal. Now the next year, if they're killing it and we decide to do the event, now you know what? We can pay commission. If they didn't kill it, then they say, look, this is our drop-off fee. So because we got to make our numbers. So we incentivize them by saying, or we take away that splitting of the commission because of the drop-off fee. And if they don't hit their numbers, then you know what? The drop-off fee stays for next year. We don't have to pay a commission. And I decide, hey, if we're going to do the event or not. If the event was lucrative, then we might want to waive the drop-off fee, and we can pay them a commission on the event. So that's how you hold all your cards close to the vest. As my dad used to say, hold the cards close to the vest, and that way you get some of the things that you want. All right. Let's see what we got. Let's see. How do I start a conversation with the business owner? So one of the people are asking, how do I start a conversation with the business owner? I just basically go up to them, and what I do is I'll look at. I usually stop in the store. I'll do a lot of pop-ins. I'll have other people looking, say, hey, I was over at this convenience store. They didn't have an ATM, and then basically what I do is I walk in the store and I always buy something in the store, and that way I'm just not I'm just not a salesperson. Actually, I think in ATM business we're not salespeople at all. Basically, we're solving a problem, and we're letting them know that we can solve their problem. So we're servicing their business and we're adding value to their business. But I always buy something because that puts them that I'm a customer. It's a different conversation when you're a customer than when you're just a salesperson. You're stopping in as a salesperson. You're going to ask a question. They're going to brush you off, get away. But if you're a customer, it's a different attitude. They're more receptive to conversation because you're buying something and they don't know that you're necessarily trying to sell them something or play something in their business. So what I do is I stop in. This works for almost any business. If it's a restaurant, it doesn't really work, I'll be honest with you, with a laundromat because I'm not there doing my laundry. But if they have something, I'll buy something in their store, and then I'll develop a conversation. The conversation will go something like this: hi, I noticed that you don't have an ATM. Is there any reason why you don't have an ATM in your store? And then they usually will give me a story. Yes, either I never thought about it, or I didn't know where to get one, or I talked to my local bank and they didn't want to put one in. I thought about having it, but I just didn't know how to get one. So, and I didn't pursue it. So that they'll tell me that story. And then I'll say, look, we can place the ATM. I'm in the ATM business. Here's how we work it. We place the ATM in your store. It doesn't cost you anything. We service it. We stock it. We fill it with our money. It doesn't cost you anything. And if the store does good, we'll pay you commission. If the store doesn't do to our numbers, then you know what? We'll just put it in here. We won't pay attention a commission, but it is driving traffic. We'll put a sign in your window so it'll let people know that there's an ATM on property. It'll drive people into your business to look for the ATM, and when they're here, maybe they'll buy something other than the money in the ATM. They might buy something else, whether if it's a convenience store, a liquor store, a gas station, or if it's just a laundry. Maybe they'll come in and they'll do laundry if they're in the neighborhood. Or now they know that they're there. They'll check your store out. And also you got word of mouth. Hey, I was over at, Sally's laundromat, and it's a nice place. Maybe they'll talk to somebody about that. So it's always good to buy something. And that's usually how I start my conversation, because now I'm starting my conversation from a customer standpoint, not necessarily a salesperson. So great question. All right. So when you negotiate, the other thing is I have a bottom line, something that I want to walk away from. For me, a deal breaker for me is if they don't want to sign a location agreement. A deal breaker for me is they don't want to bolt on the ATM. A deal breaker for me is they want more than, I'll go up maybe as high as 40% to a location. They want more than 40%. So that's a deal. Those are all deal breakers for me. So I'm willing to walk away from those deals because I know that, you know what, it's just not what I want. So we found a location 3 weeks ago. It was a dynamite barbershop, great, tons of people, had 12 chairs. And the guy he had an ATM in there. He wanted to get rid of the guy. Okay, well, why do you want to get rid of the guy? According to him, he said the ATM was out of service. Something. All right. Okay. So here's my deal. We want to do in this particular say, we're going to do a $3 service charge. He says, no, here's the deal. I don't want any money, but I only want to do $1. Okay. Well, how many transactions are you doing a month? Well, I don't know. Well, how long has this guy been here? For a couple of years. So in 2 years, you don't know how many transactions you're doing? No. So he don't give you a statement? No. So he just writes you a check? Well, yeah. Well, how much is the check? Well, I don't remember. So that was to me, it was like, I'm on a fishing expedition here. I don't want to be. If the guy's been there, he knows exactly what he's getting, and he knows exactly what he's getting every month. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm just getting information. At this point, I'm already out of the deal. But okay. So, okay, well, maybe we can do that. Well, you know what? So now he takes out by not getting commission. Then what usually I do is I say, hey, I got some paperwork, but he's not getting commission. So he won't. I asked him, I said, look, I said, we have some paperwork. I need a W-9. What do you need that for? You're not giving me any money. I said, because we ask it for all of the people, because sometimes you will. Well, if I ever want a commission, then I'll give it that. So he's already taken that out. So I said, look, I need a location agreement. Oh, I'm not signing anything. I'm like, okay, this is a waste of my time. And then I thought, well, I do have somebody who is a friend of mine, who is in the ATM business, who will put an ATM in a location. He doesn't require a location agreement. I told him I wouldn't do that. He says, hey, give me those locations. I said, okay, fine. So now I'm just, at this point, I'm just pitching it. I'm just thinking in my head, will it work for this guy? So I said, okay, well, I don't know about the dollar thing. We have to make more money than $1, but okay, well, here's the situation is we can, where are you going to put the ATM? He said, right where the ATM is now. And so I went over there and I moved the ATM. I said, well, it's not bolted down. No, I don't want you to bolt it down. We're in a good neighborhood. I don't do that. I said, but we have to have it bolted down for the insurance company. Oh, well, we're not going to bolt it down. And here it is a good neighborhood. I said, well, here's the problem is it has to be bolted down for the insurance. That's number one. Number two is I said, if the ATM gets stolen, will you put in writing that you owe me $5,000? He goes, well, no. I said, well, then we have to bolt it down. Well, I'm not going to bolt it down. So we're out. Okay, thank you very much. Here's my card. Change your mind. We're more than happy to put the ATM in here. But I was out of the deal because A, they didn't bolt it down. B, didn't want to sign a contract. And C, I couldn't make my money for what I wanted to make on the ATM, even if he does the numbers that I think he was going to do, but he wouldn't give me any numbers. So I don't know without doing some more research. We do have ways to figure it out. Even if they won't give us money, I know ways to figure it out, but I didn't, it was just bad all the way around. So I wasn't really interested. So bottom line is walked away from the deal. And I usually walk away from the deals that I always walk away from the deals that I don't like. It doesn't make any sense anymore. When I was younger or freshly started in the ATM business, we took a lot of bad deals and everyone burned, myself, every time in the ATM business. So you know what? I just walk away. If it doesn't make sense now, it won't make sense later. All right. So So I got a Facebook user. It says, what banks are friendly to use? And this is it's a moving target ATM question. I'd stay away from, although my disclaimer is these banks are great banks, just not for the ATM business. I stay away from Wells Fargo. I stay away from Chase. I stay away from Bank of America. I stay away from those three big banks all the time. It depends what part of the country. I would go to smaller banks, mom and pops, savings and loans, credit unions. Those are been our friendly ATM banks. When the banks get bought out, then usually you can take a local bank who might have 5 branches. They get bought out by a bigger bank who has maybe 30 to 50 branches, and then another bank will buy them out. And I find out every time they buy out a bank, we lose those kind of banks. So I can't specifically answer that question because it depends on the East, like you said, East Coast. It depends on where, and I would have to look at specifics, what city you're talking about. I see your son, New York. There's a bunch of banks in New York. I don't know them off the top of my head. I had to look at in our portfolio, what banks are people using, and then I can look at I can give you some ideas of the banks that these people use, and then it could help you out. But I can't do that right now on the live. But if you leave, I try to get your question answered a little later. Let's see. I find most banks aren't friendly to ATM operators, and yes, I agree with that. They're not, and this is one of the hardest things is right now in the ATM business. There's getting the hardest thing in the ATM business is setting up your corporation and getting a bank that will bank you. I'm not going to lie about that. It's very tough. But once you get that, then you know what, you're off the races and you can make money. But that is basically a roadblock. Reminds me, it's kind of like when I went to college. When I went to college my freshman year, we had weed out classes. They're designed to get you out of college. And that's what this is right now, is it's designed to not get you into the banking, to get you into the ATM business. It's a weed out. It's a weed out situation. So some banks, what they want to do is they want to force you to go armor carrier. Well, then it makes it cost justifiable not to get you into the ATM business, which is a barrier. This is exactly where some banks want you to be. All right. How many years should a contract be? So I always go with 5 years. That's where we start at 8. They can beat me up to 5. And we could go as little as 3. I don't do any 3-year contracts. It doesn't make any sense to me anymore, but you could do that when you're starting out. I know a lot of people, they'll start with a 1-year or 2-year. Some people do a 90-day trial. It doesn't make any sense to do a 90-day trial. All right. So to point number 2 is walk away, is to have a bottom line. And then point number 3 is know when you walk away. For me, no contract, I'm walking away. I can't bolt down the ATM, I'm walking away. And too much commission, I'm walking away. So I'm going back and forth. So number 4 is, let's see, negotiate price. Okay, so you can negotiate. So what I do is point number 4 is, in my head, you can negotiate one or two things. You can negotiate the length of the contract, or you can negotiate the price, which is the price is how much surcharge are you willing to give. So if they wanted to say, well, I'm not willing to sign if I'm not willing to sign a 5-year contract, I'll sign a 3-year contract. And I would say, oh, okay, no problem. But I'm not willing to give you, I'm not willing to give you $1. I'm only going to give you 50 cents. So if they want to shorten, I said that price that I quoted you was based on a 5-year agreement. If you don't want to sign a 5-year agreement, that's completely up to you. I can't pay you that kind of commission. I said, so we can start you here, and as you ramp up, I can get you closer to the number you want, but it's going to be based on your performance. It's not going to be based on, or we can sign this agreement 5 years and I'll give you the benefit of doubt right off the bat. So it's up to them. But so you can, in my opinion, is you can negotiate price, you can negotiate length of contract, but you can't negotiate both, because we're not going to do both. We're only going to do one or the other. So if you want more commission, I want a long agreement. You don't want to sign a long agreement, then I want shorter then I want a less money in commission that we're paying. So don't shortchange yourself by giving the most amount of commission with a short agreement. We're here in the ATM business, and the way we make our money is by it takes a long time. It takes a long time. So we want to make sure that we stay in that location as long as possible. And we're vulnerable without a location agreement. So the ATM, one of the best things about the ATM business, there is not a lot of competition. Once you're in the location, more likely you're going to stay there, 5, 10. So we have customers 15 years. So you're going to stay there a long time. So you want to get in there, you want to make the best deal you can and stay the longest you can. Because the longer you're in there, the more money you make, because the ATM will last 7 to 12 years, and you want to stay there for a long time. You don't usually have a lot of competition trying to move you out. And if you got a location agreement and it's a viable agreement, you're going to stay there and you're going to make money day after day, week after week, month after month. So that's what we want to try to do. All right. Also, what should be in a mobile contract? Should I even have a contract with mobile events? So yes, again, we don't call them contracts, we call them agreements. And yes, I believe, and you should always have an agreement when you do a mobile event. And the biggest reason is because you do not want to put all your eggs into, not all eggs in one basket, but you don't want to get the ATM, save the date, program the ATM, deliver it to the site, only to get there and find out there's already an ATM. Or when you put the ATM there, then you come there maybe the next day and there's 2 ATMs right behind you. So you don't want to do that. So because that's why you sign an agreement. You sign an agreement with the event coordinator or the person in charge, and then they'll have to sign something. They'll have to read it, and they'll say, oh, we already have somebody doing this ATM. Or then that's your cue to say, well, I was talking to Sally and Jim's the one making decisions. Sally goes to Jim and says, okay, what are we doing ATMs? Already I got somebody. All right. But now before the event, maybe you did program the ATM, but you didn't have to deliver it. You didn't have to go all the way out to the event. So that's why we do agreements. The other thing is put in there. What I want to put in there is I want to know hours of operation. When do you want to drop off? When do you want it picked up? Is there security on property? Or do I need vendor passes? This is the agreed upon money. This is when we'll pay you. So I want to put all that in the agreement. I want to make sure there's electricity. I see a lot of people in the chat. They're showing me pictures of an ATM with a battery in it. That's great. Beautiful innovation. But why? I don't need a battery. I got electricity. There's going to be electricity at the event because you have vendors with beer. I mean, I don't know. We don't do events out in the middle of the desert where they did an event. Everything we do is a city or a fair or a festival. There's always electricity, and they always bring generators in, even in the middle of a park, because they bring these generators, and then they always put a common source of electricity for us. So we do that. So we put it in the event. I need power, or not an event. I put it in a location event. I need power. So because there's power, then we can do our event. All right. So what do you do if a business owner wants more surcharge after the ATM is there for 1.5 years? Well, it's the same thing. What did he agree upon? Did they agree upon, hey, this is the ATM and this is the deal I made, and now they want more? So I say, no problem to that. Here's the deal. Let's say the ATM is $3 and you're getting $2 and they want more. No problem. We'll raise it up to $3.50. And I'm going to take an increase and I'll give you some of the increase. So let's say they want 50 cents more and it's $3. And say, okay, well, we'll raise it. We will raise it 50 cents to $3.50, and I'm taking an extra 10, and I'll give you 40 cents or give them. I don't know what exactly the deal is, Curtis, but what I do is I give the increase to the location owner. But what do? I haven't signed a new agreement because the agreement now is not compliant. So I said, look, I had a 5-year agreement. We agreed upon 50 cents. Now you want $1. And so I said, okay, no problem. I can take it from $3 to $3.40. I'm taking 10 cents. I'll give you 50 cents. Now you got your $1. I get an extra bump, but we sign a new agreement. So if he wants that, great. If he doesn't, then he's violating the agreement. So I try to work with them to give them the increase, and they sign a new agreement. If you already had them in there, so you just try to honor the agreement. It's no different from when you make the deal. And what I say to them is, look, we made a deal 2 years ago. Now you want to change the deal. I'm willing to change it, but I want a new agreement, and we're going to raise the price. So that's how that works. If he says, no, I don't want to raise the price, I just want more money, and say, well, I don't want to raise the price, I want more money. So I don't want to have that discussion. So what I do is I say, we can do that for a new agreement. So that's usually what I do in that situation. All right. Phil, hello. Ed Insurance has been a business owner for over 10 years and found a way to 100% sign up every merchant to a contract, even when they're first said no. After you hear this, you will be amazed. All right. I love it. That's great. Ed, you're doing great. And I would say I'm not 100%. I'm about 90, 98, maybe 97%, because I do walk away from some deals that they won't sign. So those are things. But if you got it 100 out of 100 times, that's great. And I love it. And congratulations. That's amazing. And you know what? Let me know, because I'd love to hear how to get the other 3% that I'm letting go. But I try to give them to somebody else who doesn't want to contract, but I would love to hear it. All right. And then the last one is number 5, and that we talked about. I got some more questions. Some people are asking more questions, but I want to get the number 5 for you guys. Is I always leave room for negotiation for the next deal. So if I don't get everything I want, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get the location agreement, I get the ATM bolted down, we get the length agreement that I'll take, but maybe I wanted 8 and they gave me 5 and I want the 8. So you know what? Okay, fine. I didn't win in this round. So then all of a sudden what happens is, as I know in business, the business owner will always come back and ask for something else. They always do. Just like Curtis is saying, hey, they want more money after a year and a half. Okay, no problem. I'm willing to give you more money. But what do I want? Maybe they sign a 2-year agreement with Curtis, and Curtis says, hey, they signed a 2-year agreement. Now the guy wants more money. So I'm like, okay, I'll give you more money, but I want a big contract. I want a 5-year agreement. I want a 6-year agreement. I want something. They ask, I want. And it's called, I learned this the other day on the TV show. It was about lawyers. They call that consideration. So I've been talking about consideration the whole time. They want something, I want something, and always negotiate with that. Just don't give it away. Get something when they want something. All right. What if you want more of the surcharge after a while? So if I want more after surcharge after a while, and I go to them and I said, look, the location isn't working out to what I wanted. We talked about this and I tell you guys this all the time. Look, my minimum is I want 100 transactions. That's what I want. I want to make $250 minimum per ATM. I'm not making $250 on this location. So I go to the location owner and I said, look, when we started out in a deal, I was anticipating that we were going to do 100 transactions. We got a $3 surcharge. I'm giving you 50 cents and we're only doing 75 transactions. So here's what we can do. We can do one or two things. I can either pull the ATM out, or we can do less of the. We can raise the surcharge, and I can give you less, because if we do 70 and now I'm making $3, we're getting closer to my 250 that I want. I can take 210. It's not going to kill me, but I want $3. We'll raise it up to 350, and you give you 50 cents. And the guy says, no, I want to keep it at 3. I don't need any commission. Okay, fine. So what I do is I pose it to them like this. ATM's not working out. We're going to have to pull it. But if I can get more money, I'll stay. What do you want to do? And then he makes a decision. You know what? I like you. I like your service. I want to keep the ATM here. We can raise it to 350, but I still want to make something. Okay, fine. And raising surcharge, in most cases, not in New York City, but in most cases, it doesn't make a difference. Some in New York City, in the boroughs, you know what? There are neighborhoods there are areas where it's a fixed cost. They can't do it, but most of the country you can. So that's what I do. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. Ed saying, no, I don't have to walk away. Ed, I love to hear about it. All right. What else did I miss? Anything? Get the banks when I get a chance. And all right. So, um, though I answered all the questions. Thank you guys for joining. Again, we're here. Oh, we got one. So when and how is it time to start going? Uh, let's see, when and how is it the time to start going national? Can you help out someone like me to grow national? All right. So growing national is, I guess, to me is it. I guess it's what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to accomplish? I mean, for me, I'm just trying to make more money, and that means there's no opportunity in your area. I'm trying to explore all the opportunities. Growing, what I can tell you about growing national, or what I've seen is, now you got logistical challenges, and you also, the partners that you have to get a good partner in a different city. So you got to make sure that the people that you're doing business with are good, viable people. But sometimes what happens is you grow, and you grow too big, too fast, so to speak. You find an ATM opportunity, and you put the ATM into another city. Now you got logistical challenges. All right, so there, now what happens is, this is a perfect example of what happened to me. We had an opportunity. We had a chain. They had a chain in a different state. I didn't want to lose the chain, so I took some of the deals, and some of the deals were in different states that I said, okay, well, let's try this out. And within 6 months, it was a nightmare. It's like, you know what? I just told Shane I couldn't deal with that, because we had ATM vaulters that did, let's call it, a piss poor job. Um, they said they were going to do something, and they didn't do that. Now I got a logistical nightmare because I got an ATM, and my name's on the ATM, and it didn't work out. And I don't like that. So to me, it's like, you know what? Not every deal is, I try to grow closer to home. But I mean, if you're looking to do something and go national, there's opportunity, but you have to find. All I'm saying is, be cautious. Make sure you have a vault cash agreement with them, and make sure that they have minimums that they need to keep the ATM stocked all the time. The guy that I was working with, some of the companies, they would put in $500, $800 in the ATM. The ATM was out of money. So so the ATM went down. They didn't care. It's like, well, yeah, when I get there, I get there. That was a nightmare for me. I didn't like that. So I couldn't control it. And make sure that you have a long conversation. What I learned is, not everybody does business like you do business. So you might have a certain threshold. Hey, when you might say, hey, the way I run my ATM is, we don't run out of money. We always attend to a service call within that day, that business day. If and we work at night and on weekends. Well, not everybody does that. I run across ATM companies all the time, and they say, oh yeah, my ATM ran out on Tuesday. We go there Friday. I'm not worried about it. Yeah, the ATM broke down Saturday night. I don't work on Sundays. I don't, you know what? Monday is my day. I play golf, so I'll get it Tuesday. So for me, that didn't work. But my advice to you is, make sure that you know um, who you're doing business with, and make sure that they do business like you do business. And I don't know if it says Facebook users, so I can't see exactly if that was Ed or not. So, all right. So, hey, thank you guys very much. We're going to leave now. We'll catch you. This is Phil. Oh, so if you guys are interested in getting an ATM business, there'll be a link down below for those of you who are thinking about getting an ATM business. We have a program that teaches you how to get into ATM business. So you can click the link down below. It's not necessarily here tonight, but it will be on the replay. And we do a live every other Monday at 6 Central Time. So if you guys got some questions, I'm glad that you guys joined today. You can ask questions in the chat. I can answer the questions. You can also always post. You can always post on the YouTube any questions that you guys have. And in our group, we're also moving. We're going to have more of a private community. We're going to, it's the ATM Mastermind group, but we're going to migrate off of Facebook and go to another platform. We're still going to answer questions in Facebook, but we're migrating to another platform, more of a private setting for you guys. So I hope all is well. Thank you guys very much for joining, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you. Oh, and do me one favor. If this was helpful, please throw some fire emojis in the chat. Thanks a lot, guys.